1994. From the murky banks of terrestrial radio, a new hope begins to rise.
Opie and Anthony are radio shock jocks known for setting up outrageous stunts. People sure are listening.
Two Long Island natives who together would one day change the world as broadcasting's greatest duo.
Oh my God! It was beautiful!
After 20 years, these children of the 80s have arrived.
Their hugely popular radio show is not just in New York anymore.
Opie and Anthony show. The hottest show there is.
Through 55-gallon drums and wiffle ball bats.
You push it in until you're comfortable.
From mayors to mayor.
It was an April Fool's hoax by two radio disc jockeys.
With bottle rockets and bra bombings. And wieners and pigs.
Opie and Anthony got their hands on the photo and tweeted it.
Two men that have taken a box of cocks further than any.
Well, these people will definitely stop. Guaranteed. Lift up the...
They've met friends along the way. Jim Norton.
I have a raging hard-on right now. Can I please put my dick in your donuts?
And through fines, scandals, suspensions, cancellations, and terminations, it's the one show that remains unscathed. Striking fear into the hearts of management everywhere comes a radio show that after 20 years remains above all else real. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.
But enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
There we go.
Welcome.
You just did this.
We kind of just did, right?
What happened?
I don't know.
Here we go.
We got new stuff to talk about.
Every day something new happens, right? Isn't that it?
Well, that's the beauty of doing this.
With the Wild?
I'm just laughing my goddamn head off at the headlines today.
Oh, yeah.
I guess Paul Simon and Edie Brickell, it looks like they just went toe-to-toe for a little while.
Had a little tiff, I guess.
And it also looks like that they're cool with it and used to it.
Yeah.
Because they're basically in court yesterday saying, hey, man, we're cool.
Yeah, don't worry about
Don't worry about us. We're good.
What a non-issue this is. They're married over 20 years. They have an argument over something.
Yeah.
The mother, I guess Edie Brickell's mother, called 911 and then hung up the phone.
Right.
And the cops, they show up anyway.
Yes, they
don't know
have
what's
to at
going
that
on.
point. Yeah, exactly.
And then in Connecticut, there's some kind of another one of these. We can't make a decision based on our professionalism and knowledge as to what's going on site. It's one of those mandatory, we got to arrest people.
Right.
When they go to a domestic.
Instead of what? Just sitting there and figuring it out?
You
know, you split them up. Okay, what did he do to you? Okay, what did she say?
Right. It's mandatory that they have to fucking arrest somebody.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And then it's mandatory for the papers to write stuff like troubled waters.
Oh, like the bridge over.
Right. Well,
I get it.
There were a couple others. I actually...
Certainly were.
I was so excited and so happy. I actually tweeted one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sounds of violence.
The sounds of violence.
Get it? And what was the other one I read? 50 ways to not
bruise your lover.
Bruise your lover. They weren't brave enough to say beat your lover.
But they did.
They went with 50 ways to bruise your lover.
But there wasn't even a domestic arrest. It was disturbing the peace. They went with that.
The quotes are the best, though. Edie Brickell, who, you remember her? She had one hit.
What I am is what I am. You what you are. She got a big mouth.
And then Paul Simon decided, wow, that's the girl for me. She's going to be a huge superstar with a lot of pop songs and a lot of hits.
If I get behind her.
Oh, that's right. One and done.
Right.
So Edie Brickell says, I picked a fight with my husband. Paul Simon says, 72-year-old guy, and he don't take shit from nobody, says, neither of us has any fear.
Oh, boy. That must be a hell of a house.
That means
them yelling at each other.
I think they wrestle in the morning.
Yeah, a little wrestling.
Get on the ground and wrestle around a bit.
Yeah.
This story is great. Paul and wife and domestic dust-up. And like you said, it doesn't seem like there's really much here, but...
No, but now because you're married to 20-some-odd years, you get into an argument with your wife, the dumb mother-in-law calls the cops, and now there's a thing. Now you got to be run through the system.
Yeah.
You got to go to court. That should just be looked at and be like, all right, look.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid Paul Simon.
I should have read the first sentence of the article. Guess the marriage is still... crazy after all these years.
They didn't. Yeah, they went with that one.
Yes, they did.
All right.
They started a spat in their Connecticut house that got them both arrested for disorderly conduct. I got my feelings hurt, and I picked a fight with my husband.
Feelings got hurt. He probably says, "Look at all my hits. Look at all my fucking hits. And where's yours?"
Yeah. What I am, I guess you're nobody.
Yeah.
Can we hear what I am at this point, please?
It was Edie Brickell and New Bohemians.
Yeah. I got my feelings hurt, and I picked a fight with my husband, Edie said in a statement. The police called it disorderly. Thank God it's orderly now.
There you go.
So...
But now it's just a waste of time, money, and fucking resources to have Paul Simon and Edie Brickell have to show up in court.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
We're going to go home and watch our son play baseball now.
There you go.
We had an argument, which is atypical of us. Neither of us has any fear or any reason to be threatened. Remember this thing?
Yep.
When she was all cute and shit?
Yeah.
You know this song, Jimmy?
I like this song, yeah. Who is this?
Edie Brickell.
Oh, this is her?
Yeah.
I thought this chick was young who sang this.
What's that?
This song is, God.
This is old.
This song could be
Late
25
80s.
years.
Yeah, it's in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
This song could be 25 years old now.
It's gotta be
That's
late
crazy
80s.
to think.
Choke me. Did he choke her in the shallow waters before she got too deep?
Right.
It's 25 years old.
25 years old, right on the nose, huh?
1988.
Damn.
So they're celebrating the fact that this song's 25 years old by having a little domestic.
Having a little spat.
I think that's it. Yeah, it's a long article, but they start describing what they were wearing in court because there's nothing here.
Nothing there.
Simon 72, Brickell is 47. They left the courtroom hand in hand. Nice.
There you go.
Edie and I are fine. We love each other. We had an argument, that's all. Well, that's gotta suck. Why couldn't the police do the right thing and go, holy shit, you're Paul Simon?
Yeah,
and who are you? I almost remember you.
I almost remember you. Well, look, we don't want to come back here, so we hope you just keep the sounds of silence going on in this house,
That's right.
okay? They're dumb song title puns.
Well, you gotta do that, you know.
Yeah.
But that was on the front page of one of the papers.
Well, they were very proud of their headline.
Yeah, they had to go with
Very proud of that, so,
Yeah. Then you got the Donald Sterling.
That's the big story. That's the one everyone's clamoring about.
Boot the bum for life.
Oh, yeah?
And for life in big red letters.
Yeah.
In the Daily News today here in New York City. The NBA's known about Donald Sterling's sickening racist views for decades. Don't fine him. Don't suspend him. Just boot the bum for life.
Boot the bum.
So,
Kareem wrote something really good. Did you read what Kareem wrote?
I did not read that one. I heard
that was good.
Great. Yeah.
Can we get the Charles Barkley audio? He was pretty much defending Donald Sterling a bit. Just because of the whole privacy thing.
It's about privacy. That's the big story here, and people are just letting it blow right by because they're concentrating more on what this idiot said. Who cares what he fucking said at this point? He's just some dopey old guy who owns a team. That's it. You know how many business owners have this same mindset and thinking if you threw a recorder in front of everybody,
Absolutely.
you'd be fucked.
Doesn't seem like any owners are stepping up to say anything about Donald Sterling.
I think it's the I'm in a glass house, I best shut the fuck up and not toss any rocks.
I would have thought by now you would have seen a lot of NBA owners coming forward, but they're all shaking in their boots.
Humna, humna, humna.
They know the type of parties they have on the off season.
Oh my God! You think they're in a big room going, how many of them do you own?
Right. Harumph, 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 harumph. We like to call them end parties. We go down to Miami Beach after the season. Oh, God.
Yeah, they're probably shaking.
Have any owners come forward?
No, all just to say he was terrible. Like the guy who co-founded Microsoft, who owns the
Paul
Trailblazers.
Allen?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think who else
Blasted him.
said something.
Maybe Mark Cuban?
Mark Cuban said something.
He likes to say something every once in a while.
Yeah, he said, he goes, people have the right to be stupid in this country, and, that's that.
Kareem had a great article on Time.com. He was saying basically that it's we're in the finger wagging Olympics, but like the way we're hurting our necks, just shaking our heads with indignation. But first of all, he's a great writer. And he was saying that this guy's been a known racist for years with housing issues.
Right.
And he said nobody did anything then. It's only like now. Like, I think the point he was making was like when a billionaire is caught by a gold digger talking about millionaires. Like, that's when people take notice. And nobody cared before. But it was a really smart article. And he says this guy had his privacy violated. And he pretty much weighed it fairly evenly. That, he is a racist. He's like, I'm glad to see him getting humiliated because he's a racist. But he's got the right to privacy. It was just a smart article, I thought.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
A lot of sponsors are pulling out. That's when it starts hurting the business. And that's when things, unfortunately, have to change.
Yep.
I say unfortunately because, the sponsors really have control of all these entities in the end.
If anybody was told that, if you were told, hey, we've been recording you. I've been recording you for a while now in your private conversations that you've had with people at home, in your car, at work, whatever. And I'm going to release it on the internet. Would you be like, oh, good, fine.
Right.
Or would you be like, holy fuck, what did I say? Oh, shit, what is this? I'm going to get in trouble. Is it? Nobody, no one walking around can think that in their private conversations that they're being so moral and ethical and sweet and nice. It just doesn't fucking happen.
And so far, he hasn't used the N-word in these tapes.
I know. I'm very surprised.
She has 100 hours.
Just like we said,
100 hours.
Just like we said yesterday. We said it here that there's a lot more audio.
Yep.
And they're she's just going to slowly release it.
Yeah.
I don't think you start with your Stairway to Heaven either. So.
No, you think there's a good stairway?
I think she did trampled underfoot, a little cashmere, but she's got the Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, the big one?
I think she's got the big one.
Oh, she does. You know what happened? She's smart too, because
she's also a twat. It needs to be said.
She's awful.
Yeah. Not many people are talking about her, but she's a twat because she set the guy up.
She did, and
she was baiting him, and he was stupid enough to think that he could say whatever he wants in his own house.
Indeed.
But you just can't do that anymore.
No, apparently you can't do that.
No, you can't.
That's so scary.
But she's a twat. She's trying to get herself out of some kind of situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. And she set him up.
And that's what Abdul-Jabbar mentioned, too. He said that this guy should be out of basketball and that she should be in jail. It's
wow, he said that,
for illegal recordings, yeah. But the thing is, because I kind of hate her, and then it's like, she was dating this guy for a while, and he was probably just acting like a racist around her, and she might have been like, well, fuck this guy, like, I'm black, and he's just saying this shit to me,
That's why, if you're gonna spout out racist shit, you gotta make sure the chick is very cool with it right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Right at the get-go.
Right.
Just start dropping N-bombs at hi. You had me at... That'd be great.
Well, I guess the lawyers for Sterling have reached out to this broad to figure out how to make it stop. Because they know she has many, many more hours of conversations.
Did you hear her excuse? She said, well, he asked me to tape him.
Bullshit.
Of course it's a lie. Of course. But she said, he wanted me to tape him because he forgets conversations. So as a reference, he wanted me to tape. Like, she's trying to put in that little legal thing where it wasn't illegal.
Right.
You're lying.
Of course she's totally lying.
Total lie, yeah.
This Donald Sterling seems pretty sane for 81 years old, by the way.
I think she's lying.
And then she had to wear that welder's mask or whatever the hell that was.
That was ridiculous.
I guess she's in Daft Punk now.
Yeah. She wants her privacy.
Oh, does she? Her picture's everywhere.
Sorry, right? Oh, your privacy. Yeah, look at her.
The NAACP says they will return all of Donald Sterling's donations, but also that there's room for forgiveness. They say they decided to honor Sterling with another Lifetime Achievement Award because he has contributed to a number of minority charities. Compared to other L.A. franchises, his organization gave more money. They also said he will not have to return the Lifetime Achievement Award he was given in 2009.
Yeah. So why should they give his money back? Who cares if he's a fucking racist? Isn't that more satisfying to take money from a racist?
Right.
Wouldn't you think? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
All the players are taking money from a racist, so.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
Where's that mass protest?
More people are starting to say it. We said it here. The Clippers should not show up for their fucking game until something is done. I guess the coach is not taking the calls right now. Yeah. Doc Rivers isn't taking Donald Sterling's calls whatsoever. He refuses to talk to the guy. And then there's silent protests going on all over the NBA with all the other teams still in the playoffs.
That's cool.
I'd fucking fire him. I'd fire the coach. Like, this guy's in battle right now. It would look bad, but you know what? You're not talking to me. I'm still the owner, motherfucker.
Right.
Fire him. Start pulling some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, he's so angry that he's not taking any of Sterling's calls. He refuses to take them. I wonder if Donald Sterling's even calling him. Or if he just said, hey, I'm not taking his calls right now.
He's gotta start fighting back. Lop off a head, hold it up to the crowd.
Right.
Here's what you get. You keep fucking with me.
But
I own this team.
That was the nicest tape, I think. That she released a 5.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's a lot worse.
You start out all nice, and then you hit hard at the end. And then you got the Reverend Al involved. He's totally outraged this time. Not just outraged, he's totally outraged.
That word outrage is outrageous. It's so infuriating when people are outraged.
And he's flying his ass to L.A. to have a vigil tonight.
A vigil.
Or it might have been last night. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah?
It might have been last night. He can't believe the NBA has not punished Sterling yet.
How about you look into things?
How about the NBA is doing the right thing and,
investigating,
making sure A, it's his voice, which obviously it is. Yeah. Come on. And B, though, you got to make sure the tapes weren't doctored a little bit.
And then step away from the day it's released to make sure that the punishment fits the crime, kind of a thing, logically, and not just an emotional knee jerk. Remember Greek homo guy? Fucking Greek homos.
I know. If anybody should understand the process going through after wiretap recordings are made, it should be Al Sharpton.
Yes.
Right.
You should understand perfectly well that it takes a while to go through all the audio, Al.
Speak into the briefcase.
Let's go to Corey in Yonkers. Corey.
Yes.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, Corey.
I really don't agree, what Donald Sterling was saying, but you know what, Anthony, how you were saying how you should just fire Doc Rivers for not taking this call. If Sterling wanted to, or have somebody in his family go up to all these players and say, you guys want an out, go ahead, I'll release you from your contracts, because there are plenty of people who just want to play in the pros and don't care who they play for.
And they don't give a shit. And they quite frankly don't give a shit. The sharks circling in the water now, most of them are just on the bandwagon. They just jumped on like, oh, well, I need to be outraged.
Right.
I see that people are getting pressed for this. Let me be outraged.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, real outrage is over 100 people shot in one major city. 100% of them are African American. And not a peep. That should be conjuring up some outrage. But,
Right.
It gets nothing.
All right.
And no one who knows him is sticking up for him. That's something telling, too. Nobody, like Kareem knows him, he worked for him.
He's a prick.
No, but I'm saying, like, the guy is a prick because no one's defending him.
No one's defending him. He's probably the biggest fucking asshole out there.
Yeah, probably because of past behavior.
Yeah.
They just know a lot more about him than certainly we do.
But again, I don't know many bosses that aren't fucking assholes in some way, shape, or form. And a private conversation. That's the big issue here. Your fucking privacy. People are basking in this. They love it. Yeah. They love the news reports on it, and they love the outrage. And then they're not looking at the big picture, which is, who the fuck thinks it's okay to throw a recorder in front of somebody while they're spouting off anything privately?
I don't think anyone should be fired for what they say privately, but unfortunately, as they say, the horse is out of the barn now. How do you handle this? You just you tell everyone to calm the fuck down and say we can't fire him because this was done, was a
surreptitiously.
A private conversation?
Yes.
How do you do that?
How do you do it?
How do you tell all those sponsors, like, look, we can't fire the guy because, it was a private conversation?
Yeah.
That's the problem here. We all agree. Most of us agree you shouldn't be fired for something you say in private. But when it does get out there, then how do you handle it?
You know what Jerry Lewis used to do? He used to leave his briefcase in a meeting with a recorder in it and then walk out and then come back in and grab the briefcase and go like, oh, I forgot it.
Right.
And then he'd listen to it and to see what they were saying about him when he...
what movie?
When he was in...
Seinfeld?
What?
Seinfeld? I think you've moved on to other references.
That's what I heard. I just heard that about Jerry Lewis.
Are you serious?
No, look at his face.
No, it's not. I watched a little Seinfeld last night. I never watched Seinfeld, but it happened to be on my new TV. And it was the one where...
new TV, I heard, yeah.
It's the one where they want to go away to Paris or something, and there's a postcard. I caught part of it.
With the little kid?
Yeah, I didn't see the little kid part. I tuned in late. That was a friend of mine, Mike Haggerty. He was in Lucky Louie, the guy who was burning the clothes at the end.
Oh, yes, he was. That's right. Yeah. The executive.
Seinfeld is 60 today.
Seinfeld's 60.
He's had a shitty run.
Happy birthday, Jerry.
He hasn't really done anything lately.
No. Poor guy.
Was that a Seinfeld reference? I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's say hi to...
He's had his Jerry Lewis cufflinks.
Bob in Pennsylvania. Bob.
Hey, good morning, boys.
Good morning, Bob.
Got a quick question for you. How can you be such harbors of privacy and then do what happened with the Anthony Weiner pick?
Awkward.
I don't think that was private. The picture itself was released by Anthony Weiner to somebody online. It wasn't taken in a locker. It wasn't taken in a locker room where he was expecting. Once you put a picture of yourself on the internet, you have no expectation of privacy with that picture anymore. None.
Look, we're dirtbags, okay?
Hey, I'm not trying to do it. I just wanted to get your take on it.
Well, that's it.
Opie and Anthony were not in a relationship with Anthony Weiner. It was
that too.
kind of, it was taking a private thing.
I don't think it was private.
I've texted shit to chicks. That was just him sending a chick to a girl.
Yeah, exactly. But once you do that, you know damn well there is a great potential for that picture to get the fuck out there.
Sure.
Especially if you're a public figure.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible, it was stupid of him to do, but
that'd be like Sterling spouting off into his phone and then texting that message to somebody. That audio message, and then the audio message gets out. He would be an idiot for sending it in the first place.
And that picture was being shown all over town, all willy-nilly and such.
Oh, my God, was it ever.
Everyone saw that picture. And then we just grabbed at an opportunity.
Right.
And now...
It's
well, the betrayal was by the girl.
You're talking apples and eggplants here, sir.
The betrayal was by the girl, just like it was with his. It's not by you guys. You weren't the ones who were trusted with it by him. You betrayed Breitbart.
Right.
Yes.
Let's say hi to Tony in Michigan. Tony.
Hey, yeah.
What up, brothers? How you doing?
Hey, Tony.
How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm black, Italian, and Irish, man. And I've worked with a lot of freaking idiot, bigot bosses in my time. But, it has nothing to do with the work. I'm not making an excuse, nothing, but if you don't want to work for that person, you go to the next gig, and that's all I'm saying.
I really think the move was for the team to just not play the game. That would have been an amazing statement.
Yeah,
I really believe that. And in the end, the Clippers are not going to win the NBA championship. So in the end, they lose a series and they're done for the year, and then everyone just moves on. But if they made that statement and didn't show up for that game, oh my God!
Nah, that'll never happen.
Yeah, of course it'll never happen. Everyone's scared to lose their money.
Hells yeah.
You got a job to do, because isn't it bigger than just just because he's, kind of racist and dumb?
Of course. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When do the Clippers play again? I think the series is tied at 2, right? Tonight? Is it tied at 2, Travis? 2?
I don't know.
I think.
I just know they play tonight. Yeah. It's Game 5.
Yeah. And what, the Warriors coach there encouraging people not to go to the game or something? I don't know. I heard that came out. Yeah. Anything else, Tony?
No, that's cool. I'm punching out, brothers. Have a great show.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Yeah.
What again?
Oh, it says here she could also find herself in bigger trouble if she secretly recorded Sterling, because California requires both sides of a conversation to consent to it being taped.
Sure.
That's why she had to say that, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit of a twat. Although, how much of a twat is she if she's dating this guy and he's just... Like, if you're dating a half black chick and all you're doing is dropping N-bombs and saying, I don't want blacks around, eventually that chick is going to lash. Like, you can't expect to do that and not have some kind of a fucking vengeful...
Or some kind of issue.
Yeah. Like, what do you expect?
She put that in the back of her head and then waited for the relationship to go bad, whatever weird relationship they had, by the way. Because it seems like she was allowed to do whatever the hell she wanted.
Hey, you know what?
As long as she showed up on his arm every once in a while.
That fucking money... She's probably getting anything she wants.
Yeah.
And she puts up with all that shit until it starts going away, and then she, comes out with these tapes.
Let's say hi to Birdman on Long Island. Birdman.
What's happening? Hey, listen, ain't this fucking cunt a half a million anyway?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
She's Mexican and black, sir.
This sure brings out the best in people, doesn't it?
It really does.
Well, you know me, but still, it doesn't make a difference. But why would he be with her if he's a racist? I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, it taps into that
fucking wallet there.
It taps into that fucking slave master mentality. That's why people hate this guy, because it's like that plantation mentality, like, treat blacks a certain way, but still want to fuck one. That's
people loved watching 12 Years a Slave and Django and stuff, but when it's real people, it's like, well, now we don't want to see this.
Yeah, he didn't beat that cunt, did he?
It's like, oh boy, Leonardo DiCaprio was great. I loved his character. He was so hateable and everything. Oh, we don't want to see that.
Yeah, and how apologetic was DiCaprio? Oh, this is the worst character I've ever played. We got it.
Yeah.
We know it's a role.
You don't have to sell how bad he is.
Right. We understand. He's terrible.
White people are so petrified.
All right, Birdman. Thank you.
White people.
Let's go back to Philly. A lot of fucking listeners in Philly, man.
Yes.
Ryan, what's up?
Hey, guys. Hey. Out today. So the guy doesn't like black people. Big fucking deal. She recorded it. Is it that big of a deal?
Well, it's a big deal now that it got out.
Yeah.
And the big deal people are saying is that he's an owner of a company that employs a lot of black people, and perhaps some of those people were discriminated against, didn't get the job that they were qualified for because they were black. Maybe the pay is different in the front office because they're black. Like, who knows what type of discrimination he's practicing because of his ideology?
Right.
They're laying out hundreds of millions of dollars, everything else, that's all great and well. I mean, like, if they don't show up to a game, Donald Sterling's just going to sit there and go, see, well, I told you, they're the laziest people on the face of the earth. Typical blacks.
They got to show up for the game. They have to show up for the game, but I get why people are mad, too. It's like, it wasn't like he just made one line remark, like, he's saying don't bring blacks to the... I get why black patrons don't want to go. Like, fuck you, I've been supporting your dog shit team. It's not like they're the Lakers or the Celtics. They're a shitty team for decades.
I don't know if they have to show up for the game. I wonder if some of these players will tap out. Because this is way bigger than a stupid game to these guys at this point.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's everything to them. So now they're going to go and just play the game itself. That seems really strange to me. Unless the NBA comes out and does something dramatic today, then of course they'll have no problem playing the game. But if the NBA doesn't do something dramatic today, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple guys just say, I ain't playing tonight. Fuck this.
But what's their reason? Even though I get emotionally, what can they say? Because my boss said lousy things to his girlfriend?
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's no...
Because they truly think he's a racist, and I think it taps into that whole, slave/master mentality.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Do you hear what Spike Lee said? Oh, boy. Oh, you got Spike's clip?
Oh, we got the Spike.
Spike's an idiot.
Well, Spike likes to take it to the nth degree.
Very good. Yeah.
Spike Lee.
He shouldn't, this guy, Donald Sterling, should not own
gotta go.
a team.
Because he's tainting all the other 29 partners. He's tainting the league, and he's tainting America. And when you hear something like that, that is the mentality of a slave master. He sees his players as slaves.
He feeds them. He
works
them.
Slaves. Those are some well-paid fucking slaves.
I want to comment what Magic said. Well, people say, not just Magic, people say, well, doesn't he know that all his players are black? Yeah, he knows that. Magic knew that too. We're out there in the cotton fields and whatnot working. So
when was Spike out in the cotton fields this week?
And I would like to see, even though the league is 75% African American, I think this is outside from Dirk Nowitzki. I really never heard from the white players.
You think this should be an issue that white players speak out about, not just African American players?
Everybody. If you are someone who believes in humanity,
like blacks speak out about white,
based on
black on white
race,
crime.
Sex,
Shut up,
whatever.
hypocrite.
This
Fuck
is
you,
a front
dickbag.
to everybody. We all should be outraged as Americans.
We should all be outraged.
I don't think he's being unreasonable.
He's
though.
being unreasonable there because every black, like Spike Lee comes out and says, everyone, the white players, everyone that needs to be outraged when black people get their feelings hurt. Yet when the multitude of black on white crime happens, you don't hear a peep from these motherfuckers like Reverend Al and fucking Jesse and Spike. I don't see Spike getting all fucking upset about the poor old dude that got the shit beat out of him for hitting that kid accidentally and then gets out to help the kid and a gang jumps him and fucking beats him into a coma. Where was Spike? Shouldn't everyone be outraged? There's 2 fucking racists in the news in the past couple of weeks. 2 white old dudes saying racist shit in the past 2 weeks. And all of a sudden there's this systemic fucking racism in the U.S. that needs attention thrown on it. But you mentioned poor behavior in the black community, and it's a few bad apples. Let's not concentrate on it or give it the time of day. It's horse shit. God. Wish I knew German when I spoke like that. Sounds a lot better.
But even though I think you raise a fucking really good point. I
know
in this point, what Spike is saying, I don't think is crazy. Despite all the other bullshit, like that's not an unreasonable thing to go. Like everybody should be outraged that there are.
Well, I want to see some other outrage. Then I want to see some other fucking real, viable outrage about the mass murders going on in the inner cities. And not blame it on the guns. Blame it on the culture and the people that are doing it. There's just zero accountability.
We all look at it like it's a bigger picture thing, though. Like
bigger.
But, when something like that happened, we all look at like the bigger... This just taps into something. I think this guy just fucking taps into a certain mentality. Just like when you hear, when I hear, old white guy gets beat up by 5, it taps into a fucking...
Yeah. I guess so.
Porn I like.
But we're talking about it, and we're condemning what the guy said.
Right.
That's something that white people are doing. When he says, everyone should be outraged, there aren't many white people defending what this guy said. You could defend his right to privacy. You could defend his right to own a team and be an asshole and say, but no one's coming out and defending what he said. Everybody is critical of what he said. You don't see that, on the other hand, when there's a white victim. And not just of butthurt because of words. We're talking fucking major assaults that are going on. And just nothing. So fuck you, Spike Lee. Until we see it on the other half, you could go fuck yourself.
Let's say hi to Don in Florida. Don.
Is it Don on the phone?
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
All right.
I got a thing. I was hearing Magic Johnson on CNN. I think it was. There's nothing that they could do to this man. If they only in the NFL they have a bargaining agreement that they can suspend the owner or out him. But in the NBA, there is nothing they can do. He said the only thing that they can do is that the public can only not go to the games, get in his pocket. But the NBA, there's nothing they can do to this man. That man has a right to say what he wants to say.
I think that's the way it should be. The public doesn't want to go. I get why they don't want to go. I think that's how it should be.
Free market.
Yeah, the public says we don't believe in this guy said. Fucking, we won't go to the game.
It's his business. He owns this team.
The public will be going to this game.
And it's like they were saying, I'm sorry, it was like they were saying he paid $15 million for that team years ago. That team's worth over $600 million. Wow. How are you going to hurt this man? You're not going to, he can say whatever he wants to say. Magic said, man, there's nothing. And even L.Z. Granderson said that, hey, this stuff will fade out. It will fade away because there's nothing can be done. But, and these blacks, like Al Sharpton, he come down to Florida when Trayvon Martin got shot stuff, and they come into the governor's office and set in, trying to get the gun laws changed. These people, that's all they do. And then whenever they don't get their way, they move on.
That's true. Yeah, they don't have much longevity or real drive. These organizations like the National Action Network, Reverend Al's, he'll go somewhere and protest, but if he doesn't get immediate results and the cameras start peeling off and not covering him as much,
right,
he packs up his dumb little bags and fucking leaves.
He's out of there.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And that's why it happened down there. But I got one more point, and I'll let y'all go. I love y'all's show. But, man, I'm going to tell you, the racists, they always come to the whites. I'm from the South, and I was raised in the South, and we have our beliefs. But, you know, they're more racist than anybody. They have had this drove in their head that they always get the bottom end of the stick. They get this.
Bottom of the barrel or shitty end of the stick, I
They get
think.
more crap than what I could get if I was crippled. They get food stamps. They have 6, 7
Your accent
kids.
really brings it home,
they
doesn't it?
They get all the friggin' tax breaks. They make all the money.
The accent really brings it home.
You're right, sir. Blacks have been spoiled in America. Good point. It's an excellent point. The nerve of them.
All they want to do is holler racism. You know what? You go in a store, they hate you more than you hate them. They
That's a
give
relief.
you a look like, you know, what the hell are you doing here? Man, you know, it's just, and they got, it just drives me insane. But anyway, y'all have a good day.
We are just
You know
never going to figure this out in this country.
No.
All right, thank you, sir.
Leave that, man. Yes, sir. And one more point.
Wow.
NBA is 75% black. Get over it.
Get over it. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Eric in Jersey. Eric.
Hey, perfect setup, boys. That last caller, full of shit.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Judge Andrew Napolitano, that guy on Fox News, he was on about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, good.
He actually read the contract that the owner signed. They've got this morality clause in there that says, even in your private life, you have to represent the best interest of the NBA.
Wow.
So he's fucked. He's gone, which is good. Although I do think the free markets should have their ability to do the work. I think the NBA right now is just looking for something else besides these tapes because they were done illegally. So they're just looking for some other shit to get rid of him.
He's got a fuck of a civil suit there also if they do ruin his livelihood.
This guy's not going to allow the NBA to ruin his livelihood.
But
or his character if he truly believes that he got fucked in this.
Or lack thereof.
I don't like the thought police. I mean, he's an idiot, this guy. He's a racist. He deserves to be gone. I would rather the free markets just, take their toll. Players don't show up. Advertisers pull out. Nobody shows up to the games. I mean, wouldn't that be the best thing to do? Because then the price of the team goes from like $500 million to $10 million instead of forcing him to sell at market value.
Yeah, the market value. He's going to get a lot of money.
Can't the venues just ban him from attending any games?
Huh?
Well,
pretty much exile him.
What if he brings a black person?
Oh, yeah, I think he does that.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thank you, Eric.
All
right.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see if we covered all this. This guy wants everyone to know that he's not white. He's a Jew. Jesus.
Oh, there you go.
Go ahead, Ron. I keep hanging up on you, but you won't go away like a fucking cockroach. Go ahead. Say what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm a cockroach. Okay. How many whites are going to be attacked by the mugs from something a Jew said? Just like the white Hispanic Zimmerman. Hey, this guy's a Jew.
Oh.
He's not white. Go to storefront.org and read the thread about this.
Storefront.
What?
That's
How many whites are going to be attacked?
That's some hardcore shit right there, Stormfront.
No, it's a white nationalist fight.
We know
you
what
don't
it
have
is,
to. You don't have to tell me.
Exactly. The biggest donor is here on the.
It's my homepage when I open my browser.
Hey, Jim, shut the fuck up.
Oh, sorry, sir. I apologize. Didn't mean to interfere with your getting the white people ready. Go right ahead, sir. I apologize.
I want your audience to know he's a Jew. He's not a white guy.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
Jimmy's probably a Jew lover, right?
Yeah. The nerve of me. I consort with the Jews. I'm a disgrace on the race.
I know you can't upset your Jew owners at serious.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Could you sew this on the breast pocket of your outfit, Jimmy? It's a little yellow star.
Hey, what's your name on Stormfront? Nazi 420 Blondie. I'm sure you're this hardcore to Jews in person all day, right? Right. I'm sure you are.
All right, whatever. He's a Jew. He's not white.
No. Hold on. We're not nice to our Jew owners. I'm sure you walk around with this attitude all the time and say what you're saying to us to people in real life.
Hey, my founding forefathers founded this country for white people.
You didn't acknowledge that. You didn't acknowledge that. And it is. I'm glad your forefathers did find this country. Thank you.
For myself and for my prosperity. Not for the Jews, not for the blacks, not for the Hispanics.
You almost said the Indians, too, but you realize, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of here.
Easily bowled over.
Yeah.
Whole different story.
Yeah?
Hey, remember...
Anything else, Heinrich?
Yeah, exactly. Should we tell our Jew bosses something about this Jew? Because they're not white men like us.
No, Jews are not white.
I understand, I know. And I appreciate you walking around all day in your real voice, being this guy, not just on the phone or on Stormfront. I'm glad you walked.
You don't think he just walks into places and starts spouting off?
No, he doesn't. No, he does not.
Yeah.
No.
All right, take care, guys.
Goodbye.
Take care. He cares.
Right.
He cares.
Let me go to Tammy in Virginia. Tammy.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I agree with Anthony most of the time.
All right.
Jen and Opie, they're always so in the middle that it fucking pisses me off.
No, you're
all
right.
the time.
I apologize. You know what? It's a fault of mine. Like, I'll look at an issue and I try to weigh both sides. And I'm like, what a dick I am. I should just immediately jump to one side. Thank you very much.
One side.
Thank you, Miss.
Jimmy.
You're right.
Your comedy shows when you come to the Funny Bone.
When you do your sketches.
All right, Tammy, what do you agree with? What do you agree with Anthony about?
Well, I agree that, you know what, it pisses me off that I work 10 hours a day and I, go to the grocery store and I get in front of the grocery store and people are in front of me and, they got carts full of food and they're paying with fucking food stamps.
There you go.
I am working all day long.
Right.
And taking
I'm the
care
voice of the
my family.
people. Yeah. The voice of the common man. I'm making a difference.
You know what? It is a difference. I mean,
I hear you.
Thing. If a white person says something out of line, all these black people come to their defense. And if a black person says anything, you can't say jack crap. So I just want to say, Anthony,
yes, ma'am.
so much.
You are so welcome.
Every day. I agree with you. I'm not a racist.
I love it. I am the voice of the new America.
You're not a racist. Okay.
I love it.
Tammy.
But I mean,
Take that with you.
Me.
Okay.
Heil me. Heil me.
It would be way braver to say that you are a racist.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Of course you're a racist.
No, I'm not a racist.
Of course you are.
She's not a racist. She's reacting to what she sees and lives through every day. That's not racist. It's a realist.
That's exactly right.
Going with the Lady Di logic, she's not a racist. You're not a racist unless you're using the N-word.
I don't ever use that.
Oh.
Bullshit.
Oh. Got to fit it into your vocabulary.
If my son uses it, I go off on him because my son, who's 25, will use it. And when he does, I just fly off the handle. I'm like, you can't say that. We can have our opinions, but we don't say that word. So I think I just get so mad that they get so much, and the white people we're always the villain. Sorry.
Yes.
That's it. So you guys have a great day.
All right, Tammy, thank you. Tammy. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What guy on the phone is an idiot? We're trying to go to break here, Josh. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, what's up, guys? The guy a couple calls ago who also probably not a racist. The NBA actually does have a couple legal options, whether Nate Silver or the owners. The owners can vote to kick the guy out, and Nate Silver can say if he's hurting the NBA product, which clearly right now he is, they can get him out of there. And with regards to how much the team is worth, it's worth that because of the NBA revenue sharing, of which this guy's done nothing over 30 years to enhance. So his team has lost 50 games a season, but the team value goes up because the NBA shares all that TV money.
If you can make somebody, if you can make somebody have to sell their business for something that was said in private, that's an astounding leap to make, and it's an invasion of your rights, I think.
I agree with you.
I think that's insane.
I hope Tammy heard that. I agree with you.
If you have a business, you have a fucking business, and you're the owner of it, and someone fucking tapes you without your knowledge, puts out what you said, and you lose your, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, you know that business you built, or that you did this, you can't have it anymore. Be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I completely agree with you. Hold on.
Hold on, sir.
I completely agree with you, but what do we do? How do we handle this?
Well, you handle it
because now all that is out there.
But it's got to be handled by letting people know, informing people that this is how things are supposed to work. You can't crucify somebody based on their private fucking conversations that were illegally recorded and put out there. You just can't do it. Yeah, we'd love to. We'd love to take him out and chop his fucking head off. We'd love to hang him, put him in front of a shooting squad, whatever, a firing squad, whatever. We'd love to do that. We can't. And you got to get over the fact that you're not going to get this great revenge or something that makes you feel good, closure, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Right.
Guy was fucking fucked here. He's an asshole. Don't get me wrong. Believe me. I'm not even agreeing with what he's saying. It's ridiculous. You're on a goddamn basketball team. You got a black girlfriend, and you're fucking saying this shit. It's crazy.
Thank you. Well, did you want to make a final point? Sorry.
Yeah,
Josh.
well, I agree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying, too, is that the other owners have been sort of looking for a way to get rid of this guy because while they work on building their teams and their business, his teams for the last 20 years until recently, he doesn't do anything. He sits back. Nobody could probably show up at those games, and his team's going to go up $20 million in value while they bust their ass. So this could be, the opportunity for them to fuck him is all I'm saying.
I understand your point, but it just so happens that the Clippers are now good, which is strange.
True.
Which is strange because it seems like he really didn't do much to really, push the team forward. Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Do we have the Charles Barkley audio? Yep. Is it short, long?
Yes, it's short.
All right. This is what Charles Barkley had to say.
Read the story over and over, and you still cannot believe what you're reading.
Well, first of all, you can believe it because this has happened before. He settled a lawsuit years ago. Obviously he owns a lot of land and things also, and he settled a lawsuit that said he was discriminating against blacks and Hispanics. So this is habitual. This is the first test of Adam Silver. He's got to suspend him right now. First of all, they got to prove his voice on the tape. But this is the first big test from Adam Silver. You can't have this guy making statements like that. He has to suspend him and fine him immediately. He has to be suspended. And the problem I have with it, if somebody want to be racist, that's all right. That's their thing. But when you're in a position of power and you can take jobs and economic opportunity from people, that's what crosses the line. But
Bullshit.
We cannot have an
only
NBA
if you see them doing that, not the potential.
Against a league we're a black league, Ernie. We are a black league. I don't know the number, but I'd probably say 80% of our players are black.
How do you take this as a player?
Well, that's a different animal.
By the way, didn't Barkley come out and say, I don't want white people telling us how to... And he was right. But didn't he come out and say, I say the N-word in my private life, and I want to talk it to my...
right.
All of a sudden now you're four people's private conversations being put out there?
And I don't think you can... it's almost like a thought crime thing. Like convicting somebody based on the potential of them doing something bad. All right, he's in a position of power. He's shown that he's racist. But unless there's proof that he has used that power that he has to discriminate against people, you can't convict him on the fact that he has the ability to do that and the power and even the motive to do it until you actually do it. It seems a little silly to be even talking about it. It's crazy because this is 99% emotion and 1% let's think this out, fact-based issue.
Well, we know how that works.
Yeah.
It's always on emotion first. Dan in Jersey.
The man?
Dan the man.
No.
The actual man.
Different guy.
Oh, I thought it was... Oh, okay.
Oh.
Dan.
Hey.
Hey.
Danny.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to Jamie for his new show, and I also want to... what did you guys feel about Jamie Foxx's comments after he filmed the Django Unchained about how he liked to kill white people? But no outrage, with that.
Oh, he was joking. It was a joke when he got up in front of people and said, black people are the most entertaining people on the face of the earth, and the most talented people, and that it was fun to kill white people in Django, when he was making Django, yeah.
But that wasn't his first comment either.
I do believe Jamie Foxx is racist. I don't think he likes white people. I don't think a lot of black people like white people. And like I said yesterday, whenever there's some type of interaction between blacks and whites that isn't pleasant, whether it's something as crazy as an assault or just a little tiff on the street, it's usually the black person that right away says, like, hey, you white bitch, or this white motherfucker, you old white motherfucker. The color always comes out first on that side. It's amazing.
All right, let's go to Patrick. Sorry about that. Patrick in Indiana. Patrick.
Good morning, boys.
Patty.
I just pulled some statistics off of the, actually, you can check it out yourself at statisticsbrain.com, but the Department of Commerce said that blacks and whites are actually both 39% on welfare. They both are whites and blacks, both 39% apiece. Now, the interesting part about this figure, Anthony, is 10% of the 39% for blacks are actually only half black, half white, but they count them as black. So you could actually take 10% of the black number and put it onto the white number, meaning that whites would actually have more, would be more on welfare in this country.
Well, I think you could. I think you always err to the side of black when you go half and half, like we have with our own president. He's considered the first black president, But those numbers also. So what? What does that mean?
Well, everybody's constantly saying that there's more that blacks are on the take, when it's actually, if you go down south, there's actually more white people on welfare than black people.
Not according to Tammy. She only saw black people.
Well, there's a lot of
using the old food stamps.
Yeah,
Tammy only saw the black people doing it.
I don't think I've ever said anything to the fact that there are a lot of poor people in this country of all persuasions that are on the welfare.
Like you said, if we need to start taking emotion out of it and actually looking at statistical facts instead of
that's what I do. I love it.
Going back and forth, and then we actually might come to some real solutions.
But how come people say it's an economic thing about crime, and if the poor are the same numbers, the people that are on welfare? How come we don't see these massive numbers of videos of white violent crime based on the poverty?
Well, I think if you go back to the 50s when they had housing projects like Cabrini Green in Chicago, where women were not allowed to have men living with them.
What? I don't. You're completely dancing around my question.
No, we actually engineered a society amongst black people where we
brainwash them to not know right from wrong. Is that it? To not have any compassion or empathy or a sense of consequence. Is that what we did?
Well,
Is that what we did?
We started.
Oh man,
no compassion or
stupid
empathy.
white people. God, we
suck. We started that first. And the pendulum's going to swing the other way. But right now, when the pendulum swings, it swings real far to the other way, and then it takes a while to go back and forth, and finally it settles in the middle. And as Jimmy's so fond of saying, We screwed these people for years.
Well,
and
did
years
we
with
screw them
slavery.
up? Why don't we give the same latitude then to these 80-year-old racists and just say, well, it was back then, and that's how they grew up, and that was acceptable back then. Why don't we give them the same latitude we give to black people for having had such a despicable upbringing back in the 50s, when you don't look at these white racists and say, that's just who they are. Throw them a bone.
Well, we give a lot of latitude to racists.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Well, what about Clive and
I'm not even saying we should. I'm not saying we should give latitude to racists. I'm just saying it's again another one-sided hypocrisy that goes on in this country. The coddling that goes on.
When you live in a place like New York, where you have very definitive neighborhoods where blacks and whites are pretty much segregated, along income class. Now, as you get into higher incomes, you have more integration. But it's really, in this country, we need to start getting away from race and start looking at people's incomes. Because
again, I bring up the economic question. How come what you said when you first called, the same percentage are considered impoverished in this country? Why don't we see the thousands of videos of white violent crime in this country like that, based on poverty?
Well, I think if you go down south, you do.
We see gangs of whites running around stomping people. Is that what we see? We see white people beating each other, holding children in Chuck E. Cheese. What happens? Where are those videos?
I don't know.
Everyone's got a phone these days. We're seeing the world in a whole new way. We have an eye on every aspect of the fucking world to record and document and see things that normally were hidden from us. We see that now. Where are the hundreds of white teens running into stores and running rampant and beating people? What? Yes?
It's on the website World Star Rock and Roll.
Is it World Star Rock and Roll?
Yeah, you just don't go there.
See, World Star. World Star Rock and Roll. Don't blame it on just poverty. There's a cultural issue here that is not being addressed. When it gets addressed, the person that addresses it is called a racist. So therein, the problem will never get solved.
Why haven't you ever said that before?
I've said it so many times.
Thank you, Patrick.
However,
yes, Jimmy,
I do think you're right about you don't see those videos of white people.
Yeah.
I think white people were part of the power structure in the country.
Oh.
But we are. It's a reality.
Not anymore.
No,
I don't think we are anymore.
We still, believe me, the way that white words are held to higher accountability than the actions of any other group, white people
But like
still
I
run
said,
the show.
if you get a black gentleman that is well-educated, well-spoken, and well-dressed, he will kick the shit out of any white guy that's trying to get a job in this country.
But the videos you're looking for, like of white gang, you don't really see them. But where's the videos of blacks in a power structure mistreating whites legally? Like, you don't see those videos either. You don't see videos of a lot of black cops beating white perps.
We're seeing a virtual lynching right now on television, and that's the black power structure.
I mean violence, though. I mean physical violence.
Yeah, physical violence. Where is it? But there's always this preaching that goes on that white people are racist and advocate violence against black people. There's still, this anytime there's a shooting, a white on black shooting, which is so rare, it's looked at like it's happening all the time, the outrage again. And yet, black on white crime, you don't even hear about it on the news. It's crazy.
That's the news. I mean, they're shit. They're terrible.
Well, we don't hear about it on the news because no one is outraged about it. No one brings it up.
But you're almost making my point. That's because when you're the ruling group, you hold your own people in your own group's behavior to a higher standard than people you see below you.
The ruling group that has to walk on eggshells around conversations.
Choosing to walk on eggshells around other people from that group.
Oh,
that's what it is.
God.
It's a bunch of white people throwing each other under the bus. That's what fucking racial discussions are in our country.
But it comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it comes from the potential of black groups getting outraged and like Reverend Al parking his fucking truck in front of your business and being an asshole.
But that's all right. That's all they can do. That's all Al Sharpton can do is
Apparently
park there and be an asshole.
People have enough fear of that they They throw each other under the bus.
They don't want the business to suffer. They don't want to lose money. I mean, okay, but that's not being... like when we got in trouble, it's fucking just a bunch of cowardly fucking white businessmen and white. And what did Bernard said that when Imus got in trouble? These white guys are all crawling under their desks and hiding because Sharpton showed up. That's not a Sharpton being powerful. That's them being fucking afraid and not just standing up and dealing with it.
We're off track from what we were talking about. The bottom line here, in my mind, is that the disproportionate amount of violent crime in the black community has to be looked at, and there's no excuse for it. I don't think you can take anything and excuse the fact that there is a lack of right from wrong. You don't know you're doing wrong because something happened years ago and people were raised under shitty circumstances in this country. And not even the people committing the crimes, because usually it's very young people. Where does that come from? Where does that penchant for violence and fucking a lack of compassion come from?
Again, we've displayed that for America displayed that for a long time. I mean, and I hate to say
doing it have no fucking clue about slavery or oppression or Jim Crow laws.
We're still paying for what they did, and I don't like it. It's a reality. If they had just done the right thing, we would have been 50 years down the line already, but we're not because people didn't do the right thing. So now we're having this discussion instead of them having it on fucking terrestrial radio 50 years ago because there was no satellite. Now we have to have it. It's annoying because people before us did the wrong thing. And that's why we're dealing with this shit. And we're looking back going, that was so long ago. Well, if they had done what they were supposed to do back then, we wouldn't have to have this discussion. Or we'd be having this on a fucking 1/5 of the scale. It would be different. And it's frustrating. It's annoying because we're not the people who did it.
You look at a country like Germany or Japan during the war. They got the shit blown out of them. 2 atomic bombs on Japan, for the love of Christ. And, they rebounded pretty nicely after the entire world wanted to see them dead. That's a little oppressive, I'd say. And now, powerhouses of economy.
Yeah, but they're military shit.
Well, whatever.
They're military.
I'm just saying,
if you and I went over there with hammers, we'd take it over.
There's a resilience there, is what I'm saying. There's an ability to reassimilate yourself with the civilized society after your whole country was completely fucking wiped out.
Yeah, but they were also really aggressive in the war. They weren't innocent. They weren't. Come on, Japan. Let's be honest. They piped up and did some fucking very naughty things.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying that the end of the war, both their countries were decimated. Their people were conquered. And in a few short years, 75 or so, even less than that, when they first started really picking up steam as far as being economic powerhouses go, they were able to deal with it. I don't understand how you can look at something from a couple of 100 years ago, or 100 years ago, or 150 years ago, and still use that as some fucking excuse.
Well, if you're saying like the white people's violence, like where's white? Look at World War II. Look what happened. I mean, those were not blacks doing that. I'm not saying that they haven't done that.
I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying if you just look at basic human nature and look at what they went through in the war, but because of their own fucking accord, whatever they did, the Nazis and the fucking Japanese, they deserved what they got. But as a people, they were able to use the resources that they had and, get over the fact that most of the world wanted them wiped out.
That is true. But you're saying the ability to not know right from wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty mass scale to know right from wrong and totally disregard it on a way different level than just black gangs acting shitty or fucking murderous. I mean, that was, fucking marching people into a fucking chamber. Go ahead, take a shower.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a white mentality. Those were white people doing that, and that was a mentality of not of knowing right from wrong and totally disregarding it.
Yeah.
That's what those videos
I understand, and look what they got for it.
That's right. They did get their
whole fucking country wiped out.
With that, let's take a break. We got Louis Black coming by today. our old friend.
I haven't seen Lewis in a long time.
He hasn't been around, and it's got to be a couple of years by now.
Are you insane? I want to hear him talk about this. What do you do?
Shaq's in trouble.
What
We'll talk about that
Shaq do?
next.
Did he float past someone's window and look in?
He's in trouble for something.
Oh, Shaq.
Maybe a bit on the stupid side on Shaq's part. I don't know.
Oh, no. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll take a break here.